Worst market sell-off since June. What do we do next? What caused it? Here are my thoughts in today's video. Good morning, everybody. My name is Trey, getting in touch with you from Japan. I woke up this morning, opened up my stocks app to check how my stocks did overnight in Wall Street. Turns out 100% of them were red. It's always a good sign. And I've been talking about this for a few weeks now. We really need to be prepared for more red to be coming. I think a lot of people are asking the question, what triggered this downturn, or what triggered stocks to plummet so much? I think the actual question we should be asking is, why have stocks continued to be so good despite garbage economic conditions for so long? Yahoo Finance just dropped this article sharing the fact that the total amount of unemployment applications since the beginning of the global health crisis is now 58 million people. The latest swath of applications was 880,000 people applying for unemployment benefits. All that to say, there aren't any jobs to be had because everybody has to stay home. So why on earth would the stock market be doing good in the first place? Here's another graphic just to kind of go along with that, showing kind of the worst 10 states for unemployment right now. We have Hawaii in first place with 18.6% unemployed. Nevada, California, Puerto Rico, New York, Connecticut, Louisiana, Georgia, Virgin Islands, and Massachusetts. My home state of California, not doing too good. I'm unhappy about that, but the situation is totally understandable. So let's take a look at some of these stocks in particular. Many of these I own, many of these I've done videos on or I've been talking about very frequently. And towards the end of this list are a bunch that I've done analyses on, but haven't even actually released those videos yet as well. We have Apple down 8% yesterday, Tesla down 9%, Microsoft down 6%, Visa down 3.5%, Amazon down 4.5%. For some reason, Carnival Cruise, CCL, is up 5%. Ford down 2%, Datadog down 5%. A couple of videos coming up that I'll be releasing over the coming days. We have Nvidia and we have Salesforce. Nvidia down 10%, which isn't surprising considering its really aggressive run-up recently. Learn more about Nvidia in my video coming up here when it's released. It won't appear there yet. Salesforce also down 4%, not super surprising, but probably down less than some of the other ones. I think 80% of all the stocks are held by institutions, so that probably gives it a little bit more stability. But when all the institutions decide to sell out, you might see a huge dip. But as mentioned earlier, none of these dips, none of these losses last night or today are surprising considering how aggressively so many of these stocks have been spiking in the last few months. So going back to the overall general philosophy that I have on investing, and many other successful investors have, I've learned a lot of this from people like Warren Buffett, generally considered to be the greatest investor of all time. Believe in the company, know the company, believe in the long-term vision of it. And then when you see red days like this, or even, if this keeps going, if everybody keeps going down 5% over the next week or two, then you can just buy more. You're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, are they ever gonna come back? Because stocks like Amazon, like Tesla, like Apple are probably gonna be coming back because these are the companies that are changing the world. So in my case, yeah, it kind of isn't awesome to see these stocks go down a little bit, but at the same time, I know if they keep going down more, I can buy in cheaper and lower my cost basis. I often talk about dollar cost averaging into a stock and dollar cost averaging out of a stock. So some of these stocks I've been selling while they've been really high. Sold some Apple, sold some Tesla recently, like right when they were peaking. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't hit those highs again for a little while now. So for newer investors, as I mentioned in the video last week, it's really, really important to have cash on hand so that you can buy stuff when it gets cheaper. I think I referenced an article or research study in that video that talked about how something like 34% of people under 34 years of age have 100% of their available cash already in the stock market. If that's happening and you haven't taken any profits, then when things drop, you're just gonna be screaming. You're not gonna be able to sleep well. You're gonna be like, dude, it's losing, it's losing, it's losing. I either have to cash in my losses or just wait for like years until things get better. Not necessarily years, but it could be weeks or months. But you don't have the option to go back in and lower your cost basis by buying a bunch more for cheaper. All that to say, keep cash on hand, especially in really tricky times like this. Also, if you're new to the stock market and you're thinking about getting invested or you just have started, don't get scared because this stuff is pretty normal actually. And if you are patient, just keep watching a little bit. And after many days, 2-3 days of a lot of red, it's not a bad time to grab a stock here and there. Kind of an exciting time to start getting invested into the stock market if you're just starting out. It's gonna keep you awake, it's gonna be stressful, but that's what you have to deal with when you're investing in stocks, and that's why you get gains too, because there's risk associated with it. So we talked about unemployment, we talked about the economic data and stuff like that. In other news, people have been asking me, what are my thoughts on the election coming up? You know, we have Trump, who's already been in office, running again. Then we have Biden and his recently announced partner, Kamala Harris. What would happen if the presidency changed to Biden? What do you think about that, Trey? So as you know, you can't really just say factor A happened or news B happened, and so the stock market did this or that, or this company grew in this way or that way, generally. So the election will impact things generally, broadly over the coming years. It's possible that a switch to the Democrats, especially if the Democrats take over the Senate as well, that it could cause some huge plummet immediately. But generally speaking, it's not super likely that, you know, if Biden gets elected, all of a sudden everything's just gonna fall apart for 4 more years or something like that. So remember to keep that in the back of your mind, that there are so many millions of little factors that play into all of these prices. All that being said, we know that Trump is very pro-business. He lowered the corporate tax rate from 38% to 21%. It's almost half. So that means basically in the same way you pay income tax when you get paid by your company or whatever, corporations also have to pay the government on their profits. Trump was like, cut that in almost half. So what that means is that corporations take home more profits, and therefore the stock prices go up. And therefore stock investors are happier, they see it going up and they invest more. And then these companies can use these new invested funds to go and do more research and development and to go acquire other companies or to expand into other parts of the world. So generally speaking, having that, just that one little factor of lower corporate tax rates trickles and impacts all these other different things. Generally speaking, lower corporate tax rates equals a happy stock market. On the other hand, Biden mentioned earlier this year in a debate that if he became president, kind of 21% corporate tax rate is stupidly low. We should raise it up to at least 28%, which, you know, lower corporate profits, probably a less happy stock market. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, who probably wasn't even really considering becoming the vice president even like months ago, she has said 35% corporate tax rate, so back to where it was before Trump lowered it. You can imagine what kind of effect that will have on the profitability of companies, and therefore the expansion of companies and the ability to hire people and stuff like that. So generally speaking, and I'm not saying go and vote for this party or that party, as long as Trump remains, I think things aren't necessarily gonna fall off a cliff. I think if Democrats take the presidency and then also take over the Senate, I think they already run the House, but if the Democrats get a full sweep, then basically it's like, hey, Biden is just like, yep, raise the corporate tax rate, boom, 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 everybody agrees, it's done, it will happen, and probably negatively impact stocks. So that's just one thing for you to factor in. Please also consider your values, like other legal issues that you kind of agree on or think about, or how your area might be affected by different parties, things like that. I'm not gonna tell you who to vote for. I know who I'm gonna vote for, but let's just leave it at that for now. So all that to say, I think it's just really smart to have cash on hand. If you're starting to see some losses already because you bought super at the peak, might be good to set stop losses. Stop losses are these things basically where the stock price, if it's going down, if it's going down, if it's going down, even when you're not at your computer or your phone, once it crosses this trigger, it just auto sells at that price for you. And that way, like for me, I'm sleeping the whole time Wall Street is open. I need to do that because I don't want to have to stay up all night just being like, oh, is it going to go down 5%? Is it going to go down 10%? You know, I just set stop losses and then I wake up and I'm like, oh, it stopped me out. So I lost a little bit of money, but I know I'm not going to lose more money after this. So looking forward to hearing your thoughts. What are your plans? What are you going to be doing? Are you going to be buying in like now? Are you going to wait for some more red days before you buy in? Are you just going to like hoard cash for like another few weeks and see how things settle down? Let me know what your plan is. Looking forward to hearing more from you guys. Thank you very much for your continued viewership. I know there are many YouTube channels around and you choose to watch me. That's very encouraging and helpful. Let me know down in the comment section. Join us over on Reddit, which is linked down in the description as well. Looking forward to hearing more and interacting with you guys more. I love you guys and have a great day.